everything you Google it, and it says it is the greatest animated film ever made. I think in that sense, it's a bit overrated.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's the greatest animated film ever made. I don't even think it's close. And I'll say right here, right now, I think Your Name is a better film pretty much all the way through and through.
Pizza time. Pizza time. Pizza time.
You like
Pizza time.
pizza time?
Alex.
Yes.
You are Alex.
I'm
I am
Alex.
Ed.
You are
Hello, everybody.
Ed. Hello. We're doing our best here.
I did it.
We're trying to be hosts.
I remember. Now, if you haven't watched our last episode, that was a play on the fact that we keep getting comments that people forget our names because we do a bad job of saying them, and we don't have lower thirds.
There's so many people that say, I agree with the guy on the left, or I agree on the guy on the right. And
until I'm working on season 2 graphics, guys. Okay,
it's going to be season 5. It'll be next year by the time we fucking get those graphics.
Our season 1 is literally 73 episodes. At the
I feel
moment,
like that's fine. Everybody,
I mean, essentially,
what are we?
It's just seasons. But we're not stopping. We're not stopping. Not yet, at least. So, but anyways, yeah, the idea was that, like, at least we got that. Also, check the description. On the last upload, I actually put our names in the description. I even put left and right. So if you need to, we do. Yeah, I get it. You want to call us by our names. We appreciate that. So you can find that in the description until we get lower thirds. So there you go. And we'll do our best to do it here. Anyways, guys, today, we take our second step into Japanese animated movies, and Japanese cinema in general.
I think it's like official, like this is, according to comments, this is the first official anime for me.
Oh, holy shit. Okay, sure.
Official anime.
Okay. Well, wow, really? Okay, again, explain that to me then, because I struggled last time to kind of explain that discrepancy. I just really want to know.
I don't know what it is. I feel like, I don't know. If it's from Japan, can't we just call it anime? Or did I just like cross a line that I shouldn't cross?
Again, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the typical American in that sense. I just want to say what's right. So you guys tell us. That being said, we are doing the highly acclaimed, known to be possibly the greatest animated movie ever made to some people. We have coworkers who dedicate their lives and mental capacity, part of their brain, to this, like on a weekly basis, apparently. It's by one of the greatest animated studios of all time, Studio Ghibli. Apparently the right way is Ghibli, but even Hayao Miyazaki says it's Ghibli, director and writer. And it is Spirited Away. I wanted to get your take on this really quick before we get into Alex. Like, when you heard Spirited Away, did you even know what that was? When you first heard that? Someone who never really... So, like, knowing
the people we know, like, I mean, just think about, like, the group of people that we, kind of share as friends.
Somewhat cinephiles over, like, we know movies.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, you and I would be, like, I think considered hardcore cinephiles when it comes to, like, American movies and stuff like that.
Sure.
But, like, our friends, they love anime. Like, we have groups of friends, when I tell them I've never watched anime, they get, like, offended. Because they're just so taken aback by that.
Sure.
So yeah, when you said the name, of course I've heard of it, and I've seen images of it, like, the Mr. No Name or No Mask, whatever is No Face.
Okay.
Like, I've seen pictures of Spirited Away. Now, would I have known that they were from Spirited Away? Probably not. But I have heard of the movie, and then I have seen many images from the movie.
Okay.
Like,
no,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's a testament to the movie itself. I think it's everywhere, especially if you go to Japan. They have Ghibli stores everywhere. I just went to Japan in this past week, and we went to like 3 of them. It's a humongous deal, Ghibli in general, but particularly Spirited Away. It is considered to be one of the highest. Question, yeah.
They have a Studio Ghibli theme park.
Yes, correct. I think it's fairly new. It's
with
actually
no rides.
No. I've seen a few videos on YouTube where it's largely kind of this land that you interact with. It kind of puts you into a lot of the settings from the movies.
Kind of cool.
Oh, it's great. I think it just opened like this year. It had like a soft opening maybe last year, but it's fairly new. and it looks great. It looks fun. So for those who didn't know, if you love Ghibli, they have a theme park in Japan. I didn't go, unfortunately. It's not in Tokyo. It's somewhere else. I forget the exact city.
I've seen images of it, and it looks like it's, the more countryside of Japan.
Correct.
Wherever that would be. Because it looks like there's open spaces a lot.
If you are familiar with Ghibli films, a lot of it has to do with environmentalism and being in the sort of wild, in the sort of nature. It has a lot to do with that. So that makes a lot of sense. And yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But anyways, let's get right into this. So Spirited Away, really quickly, if you don't know, which I'm sure a lot of you do have at least heard of it, it is a 2001, holy mother, I gave my heart attack, 2001 animated fantasy film written and directed by the amazing Hayao Miyazaki, of course, head of and creator of Studio Ghibli. It is not the first Studio Ghibli film. We will probably go through all of them for sure, because they're all largely considered to be incredible, and everybody has their like little favorites. But this is largely to be the sort of big favorite, and it follows the story of a young girl who is in the midst of moving with her parents, Chichiro, who on their way to their new home stumble upon an old amusement park abandoned. And from then on, almost immediately, suddenly weird shit, the best way I can put it, starts to happen.
That would be
it consolidated to the point where she finds herself in a spirit world of sorts, a side spirit realm, where she meets this humongous bathhouse where she must work in order to essentially survive and get herself and her parents back into the real world. And I could not begin to tell you the details, because I could spend 30 minutes just telling you every little character, every story beat that happens. Besides the fact that she meets also a handsome man that also saves her, named Haku, and they share a special bond that we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's essentially about that. It's sorcerers and this incredibly fantastical, one of the most creatively dense worlds I think anybody has ever seen. And that's Spirited Away. So let's get into it, Alex. I'm obviously going to start with you. I've seen the film 5 or 6 times now. So I want to get your... Well, no, let's go with my thoughts really quick, because I have seen it. So very quick.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I do love this movie a lot. I think it is one of the best animated films ever. There are problems with the screenplay, though. I do admit, every time I watch it, they glare at me more and more. That being said, I think I can push them aside because of just how incredibly creative and inventive the world really is. Like you just kind of have to gawk at just like this came out of a person's mind. It's phenomenal, and ultimately I think it tells a really great message, but it fumbles a little bit overall. It's not my favorite. I do not actually consider my personal favorite animated film of all time, but I can see it. I can see why people consider it. So I like it a lot. I go back to it quite often.
Okay.
Alex, why don't you go?
Okay, so let's see here. Where do we start with this?
Wherever you want.
So, if we're speaking about this film as everything you Google it, and it says it is the greatest animated film ever made. I think in that sense, it's a bit overrated. Okay. I'm not going to say it's the greatest animated film ever made. I don't even think it's close, and I'll say right here, right now, I think Your Name is a better film pretty much all the way through and through, from animation to story to everything. Inventiveness, if you want, to all that. I
agree with you.
Yeah, I think Your Name is the better movie. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I don't even think it's close competition.
Wow.
to be honest with you.
You're really setting the boundary. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay. So like that's to set the boundary, right?
Love it.
Now, do I think it's a good film? Yes, it's definitely a good movie. It's definitely wildly inventive with pretty much everything. The story of Haku and Chichiro, very, very nice, very like kind of heartwarming, and I probably need to watch the movie one or two more times to kind of fully get every message that's thrown in there, I think.
Sure.
But overall, a very good movie. Not the greatest animated film of all time. Not even close. But very good still. Those are my thoughts.
I don't disagree with you. I told you. I also am in that camp. I do not. I see it for its merits, but I definitely think that the narrative isn't the most even, and particularly. I think what it does is that it kind of leans a little too heavy on the fantastical element of, like, you know, every scene is like there's something new. There's something new, and it's like it keeps your attention. But you kind of start to wonder about, like, well, where's this go? Like, where's the story going?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Dude.
Yeah, it's like, well, where's the main story? Like, where does that kind of fit in? And it really doesn't happen until basically the third act, when you go see the sister, the sorcerer's sister, and like pieces start to fall, and you realize that Haku had known Chichiro before, and kind of go, oh, okay, this is where all that kind of went. Yeah. Or was this whole time, but by that point, it doesn't have enough runway to really deliver on almost any of it. You kind of just have to, like, be left with it by itself. So that's where I have a problem with. I think that's the major problem with the movie as a total package.
I would completely agree with that.
Right.
Like, I was sitting there and I watched it this morning. I watched it at 7 a.m. Walked the dog. I watched it, and I was sitting there and I'm just like, where are we going? What is happening? What is the point here? And you know, it gets this, like, again, like, I thought, you know, at one point, I thought the point was going to be the no face, was it no face or no name? No face?
No face. You got it.
No, it's no face. Okay. I thought that spirit was going to be attached to her in a different way than what it was. I thought that's what it was going to be.
Right.
But it wasn't at all. And then, like, I was just, like, taken aback, and I feel like the story was a little bit about growing up a little bit.
Sure, of course.
That's what the story was. But, like, at the end of the day, like, it took so long to get there. Like, once you get there, like, Haku and Chichiro, like, their story, when it comes together, and you realize that, it has this kind of, like, environmentalism kind of underlying message as well, where, you know, the river doesn't flow there anymore because they built on it, which is really sad, you know, like, and that's why he's stuck in this world now. But, like, it's so sweet that, like, he saved her life, and in return, she saves him. Right. It's like a full circle moment, but it takes so long to get there. Yeah. I was kind of like,
it's like right at the end.
Shit.
It's almost like tacked on.
It's literally right at the end. Like, it's like the last 3 minutes of the film.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And you're right. Yeah. It's easy as you get to that point when it's throwing everything at you so much that has their own, like, little world and story. It's easy to be like, to continually sort of latch on to that as a narrative element, only to be, like, kind of tossed away again, like the no face, like the stink spirit. Like, you feel like all of these elements, and there's so many characters, Lin and the baby and Bo. You know, there's just so many of these characters come in.
What the fuck is the baby? I was like, why is this thing in this movie? The baby? I don't understand.
And at some point, you kind of just, this is the world. It makes its rules, and that, you know, you just kind of let it go. It's just no rhyme or reason half the time. I mean, maybe there is, but it spends no time to do it, and that's fine. But yeah, you get sort of led to something, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. And so you find yourself kind of going through an ether a bit of where's the story, and that's the problem. I think the biggest problem with the movie, in my opinion.
To sum it up for me, like, what I thought about after it immediately was like, so, like, there was my head, and I don't know why this image came to me, but it was like a lady walking down a path in a forest, and there was 18 different ways to go, and you didn't really know which one was the right way. That's what I thought about when I saw this movie. But it landed really well, and I wanted more of maybe Haku and Chichiro, or more of, I don't know, maybe I'm a dumb American, I don't know, just more of Chichiro being less fanatical, more of a story. In my opinion, I think would have done more in my book.
Right. Right.
With that said, I think we can jump into things we liked about it.
Go off.
We got to talk about the animation again. This was 2001.
Come on, bro.
Like, are you kidding me? This was 2001 and this movie looks like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of insulting to me how like it's just insulting to me how like shit our animation has been for years and years and years and years and years. And yeah, sure, we have one every now and then that's pretty good, but like this was 2001 for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
So
yeah, really receded. It's really painful to
really receded.
Are we falling?
That's a good way to put it. Our animation is just going
both on the animated level and the story level.
And the story level. Yeah.
Like, look how just like again, like I just gawk at how creative it is. You know, it wasn't scared to just go off the path and just kind of take you on its own thing. You know, we're so safe nowadays with every animated film that we do, bro.
Yeah, I think that like that's another thing I really liked about it. It is the inventiveness of it.
Yes,
just bonkers. Like to turn the parents into pigs, to have I can't remember the evil lady's name, but I mean
Yubaba, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
To have her look the way she looks was great. Like she's like a crow or some sort of bird.
Yeah.
Just insane. Like,
very witch-like.
Super creative. Yeah, like you look like that's what you would picture a witch to look, but like ratcheted up to 10.
Right.
And then to have like the sister who's, you know, her identical twin and like say funny things in that whole conversation. Yeah, isn't she so gaudy with how she, you know, does her decorations? Like that's just like such a sister thing to fucking say.
Right.
Like to make Haku like a dragon. The dude in the like I think one of the best parts of the movie is where she goes asks for a job from the guy in the boiler room. I can't remember his name, but like. What the fuck is he? Is he a spider? I don't understand what he is.
Right.
But
he's like half human, half spider. Yeah.
Spider. He has 6 arms and he knows all this stuff. You know,
let me ask you something though. I counter back on this idea. Do you feel like the movie needs explanation? Do you feel like it needed that? Do you feel like you wish that it set up its rules a little better? You do.
Tiny bit. I don't need like a full like. You know, like we rightfully so get mad at American movies for being too like dumbed down, like not trusting the audience to figure it out on its own. And maybe this was because this is my first true anime movie. I needed maybe a little bit more. Just I don't need the whole world explained to me. Right. I don't need to know why it is the way it is or why it works the way it works. I don't need any of that. I do need something a little bit more to get me into the world because it's just like, oh, we're going to cross this bridge and you're in this world. Right. And I was like, wait, so like, are these, I'm confused. I'm lost here. I'm a little lost. We got a frog guy. We got some beaver people. I'm not sure what those people were. Foxes. I'm not sure what those are, but yeah, there's humans. Like Lynn's like a human, right?
Yeah.
Right, but then there's the other people who aren't humans because they have like really long faces, unless they're like ugly humans.
She considers Chichiro or Sen, as she's called later,
a
human. Like calling her a human, but she's not. So was she? Maybe she's cursed to be human. Like who? Because like
Chichiro.
Lynn. No, like the human people who look like humans were maybe cursed to look like humans because the sorcerer can turn anything to anything. So maybe and they consider humans to like stink, you know, or what? Like they look down. Humans aren't supposed to be there, so perhaps
supposed to stink.
It's sort of like a backhanded, like, oh, I'm going to make you a human. We're going to make you the thing that people don't like. Again, that's me pulling shit out of my ass. Like
like it could be a good metaphor there, like the spirit world doesn't like humans because humans ruin everything. It could be that, you know. But like again, Haku giving her some background to what the fuck we're in right now would have just been nice.
Well, how about this? I'll give a little responsibility to the main character. There are many questions that Sen does not ask that I would ask almost immediately. I don't exactly know how old she is, but she's old enough to
she's like 12, I think.
I thought she was like 11 or 12.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you know, yeah, I agree. Like again, I understand. Like, there's just a little bit too much of that for me.
It could have used a tinkering of balance, just a little twitch of the balance of
like editing.
Maybe some editing too.
Tiny little bit of editing is a good thing sometimes. And again, like I don't have an issue with the film. I think it's a fine movie. The best animated film of all time? No, but still a fine movie. Again, like I think it can still have all that fanatical stuff. Just something to kind of, I don't know, bridge me into the world a little bit more.
Yeah,
would have been great. But
I would agree with you.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Because again, like I think there is a good amount of people who are, because I Googled it afterwards. I literally Googled, is Spirited Away overrated?
Sure.
And there's so many Reddit forums going. Most of them say are very respectful about it, which is nice because you don't really find that about American movies sometimes.
No.
They basically all say the same thing, saying, well, yes, it is a tad bit overrated, but if you saw it when you were younger, which I wanted to ask you, when did you first see this movie? If you saw it
great question.
in 2001, 2002, 2003, in those like years, you are going to think this is the greatest animated film of all time.
Sure.
And then like, people who have seen it after the hype train has kind of rolled and gone out of control. They're not. They're going to say it's a good movie, which is literally what I'm saying. I think it's a very good movie, but it's not the greatest of all time.
That's a fantastic question. It's a fantastic point. You're right. It might depend, like a lot of movies, depends on when you saw it. What age you were, what the times were, right? I think it very much falls into that category of a movie, especially when you kind of consider, when people are calling it the best of all, like one of the best of all time. I saw it in high school when I was in my sort of the height of my anime phase. I saw it in 2000 and I want to say 6 or 5, like 5 or 6. So I was like 14, 15. That's when I saw it. Again, I think I was like right over into the precipice about being like a young adult. So maybe my brain was already sort of looking at things a little bit more critically at the point. But I can understand if someone was like seeing this in 2001, I was 10, 9, 8, whatever, that you're not really worried about that. Your brain's just trying to look for things that like make it fucking spark. Just like get that freaking spark in your brain about like, wow, just let your imagination run freaking wild. And again, you're right. From that perspective, I feel like it's very much warranted. But you have to understand too, though, that a lot of people felt that way who were adults. I mean, Roger Ebert at the time gave this 4 out of 4 stars. So even someone as old, so now I'm gonna say as old as at the age that Roger Ebert was at the time, can see this and appreciate for what it was. But I guess it depends. I guess at the end of the day, it's also depending on like what do you look for in animated films.
Right. But I think this does do a nice job of being an animated film that can be for adults but also be for kids.
Sure, absolutely.
I think that it does have a really good strength in there where it can, yes, it's for kids, but also it's more so for adults. It's like it's a good bridge, for everybody.
Right. What other parts of the movie did you gravitate to your adult self? Like, is there anything else that you liked about it? What was your favorite moments?
I really liked her like first kind of day on the job and like everything that like transpired in that day. Like when from Lynn saying, "God, have you ever worked a day in your life?" No, she's a 12-year-old, but I mean, I guess. I guess the movie's about growing up and, a little bit, all that stuff as well. And, I really liked that, pretty much that entire thing when the ghost helps her get the token. And then he brings her like every other token. And then the stink ghost and they find out, oh, it's not a stink ghost. It was something else. I'm not sure what it was. Yeah,
that was a little, the old man kind of dragon thing too. I don't know.
Which is like, again, like, what was that exactly? You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, it's like these are spirits. It's the question of like, well, why does he old man face versus like these other spirits don't? I don't know. Using.
It was nice to watch her succeed because it was like the first time it seems like she ever succeeded at anything. And it was nice that she was she's just a normal kid. And I think that's the charm where the charm of the movie does work. It's just a normal kid trying to succeed.
She's not particularly, it doesn't make an effort to sort of show you like, oh, she's like exceptional at this. Like, no, she's
she's
a normal dude. She's a fucking normal kid, man. Like, let's see what you got. Yeah. And you just have to figure out, like at that age, sort of like how life, there was a lot of things at you. And you gotta deal with it. And I love that. Again, when we talk about, if we just to bring it back to fucking American cinema, like what we're going through nowadays, where people are like, especially with the feminist movement and all that, calling like, we never had representation before in our lives. I'm like, all right, okay, you can keep saying that. I can give you more than a handful of movies I grew up with where I didn't even fucking notice it was about a woman or a young girl, and I totally got it. Like, it's so
you don't have to throw it in the face.
Maybe you're just not culturally sound enough, but I had enough. We got that. This is 2001. A lot of Miyazaki's films, I would actually argue, all of them are women centric. Princess Mononoke. Is Ponyo a girl? I have to look into that. Maybe that's a boy. But Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, all the main characters are women. So, and in course, Spirited Away. These fantastic characters who were just wonderful. Yeah, I think it is a nice. And again, it doesn't go too far into the cultural aspects of that. Like, well, she's a girl, so she shouldn't do this. She shouldn't do that. Like, she's too weak to do that. No, she's a woman, and she has to fucking do something. She has to work with what she's got. And it's clearly.
I do think that the movie should be, again, applauded for how it can, resonate with so many different ages, and then how many different. I mean, it does tackle a whole lot of issues. I think, like environmentalism and I feel like there's like a capitalism. It is tackled at one point as well, like Western influences. I'm sure there's many Japanese culture things that also are tackled. I don't fully understand those. I won't lie to you, but hey, I'm not immersed in the culture as you are. Yeah. And then I think it does tackle a children's thing. Like, children a lot of times I think can feel lonely, and like I think it really tackles that with.
Well, she's an only child.
With Chihiro, she's like, I think there are times it does tackle the loneliness really well, and it's kind of, you get that with the no face ghost who is lonely.
Oh yeah, his whole thing was
the purpose. Yeah, so I think it should be applauded for being able to tackle all that stuff. It's kind of impressive,
Yeah,
again,
exactly. And in such a metaphorical way, right? Especially for kids, like, trust them, man. They'll get it.
They'll get it.
You could easily think that they'll get lost and not be interested, but
kids are smart.
Kids are smarter than I think we give them credit for.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a much more mature film the way it's handled, for sure, 100%.
This movie won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
I was just about to bring that up. Yes, you're right, 100%. Again, I don't. Sometimes, again, could we use more of it? Sure, but we were giving credit where credit was due back in 2002, man. Like, this won the Academy Award.
Yeah,
for best animated, not foreign animated, best animated feature.
Do they have a foreign animated?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, foreign animated. I don't.
Yeah.
Good question. No, I don't think so.
No, I just think. Okay, go on.
But I get to the degree with which we're saying, like, it's never been a part of it, we don't do it at all. It's like, even during a time where this was not a thing, yeah, sure, we were very heavily white and old still, but when something's good, we did our best to credit it. So
I think just the last really thing, cool. I already talked about it a little bit, or the animation a little bit, right?
Yeah, keep going.
I just want to go back. Your Name and this, obviously Your Name takes hand-drawn animation over 3D layer and really kind of, I think, makes the movie an insane spectacle to watch.
Oh, 100%.
This is just straight hand-drawn animation. Like, can we just go back to that?
Yeah.
Like, can we go back to that? Like, it does seem like computers have kind of killed the heart of animation.
I
You know,
100% agree with you.
I think that's like where I'm at with it right now, because like there's nothing. I've seen Lightyear. I put it on and like it looks good, but it's
Obviously.
just lifeless.
Yeah.
And like for
Yeah.
some reason, this like hand drawn 2D animations, just I don't know. They just translate better to storytelling, in my opinion, to life, which
Right.
I think that's like the last thing I want to say I really enjoyed about the film is just the hand drawn animation. Just makes me miss old good animation.
I think I want to talk about that. That's a really good point. Like the idea of like, yeah, we should just go back, have a few movies where this is, because it's still very much a viable art form, 2D animation, straight up, right? Clearly,
Absolutely.
you can make a story straight up just from it. They've been doing it for decades before 3D animation sort of took over. So, but to answer your question about like maybe like why I feel like something gets lost, the closer we get to making things as close to real as possible, you start to see it as face value. Do you know what I mean? Like when you start to see things as close to what we do on a day-to-day basis, it's like what do you have to learn from that then? Right? You're just being presented with what you're already dealing with on a day-to-day basis. The beauty of not getting it perfectly like one-to-one to real life is the fact that there are very minute nuances in the way that animators experience, like animate a simple hand gesture, right? Like trying to express a particular motion or emotion it takes a lot more creativity when you can't get access to what it should be. Yeah, you get that, and I think subliminally we get that. We see that on screen with just with the little choices that they have to make in order to get that point across. For example, like they're in the boiler room scene, there's that great interaction with the soot and the rocks, and that little story where she takes one of the rocks because she feels like one of the soots is having a problem. And then taking it from him, and throwing it in herself, and then all the other soot have to figure that out.
They pretend to do that. They drop it on themselves.
Yeah, they drop it on themselves. See, that scene could play differently in a Disney movie if it's full 3D, when you can really express more of what they're doing. But there's a charm. There's like I think you do get more. There's a charm. There's a extra level that your brain has to do its own thinking. I think you put a little bit more of yourself into this when you're trying to analyze what's happening. But when you're given everything, what's the point?
With 2D animation, your imagination runs a little bit freer.
It has to.
Because there's flaws in the drawing. There's flaws in everything.
There's flaws.
Yeah,
there's no choice.
I think that's a very good point.
When you're given it, the closer you get, I just think you're actually doing less. I think it's actually lazier. It's weird. I think we're on one side we're going ahead technologically, yet we're creatively, I think we're getting lazier. Yes, and that's such a weird.
That's a really good point.
That we're at.
We like it's almost like. Well, I call it the Hobbit paradox. When Steven Jackson went too crazy with his CGI, and he kind of forgot that physics exist. I can't just like create
like we got to figure this out.
Yeah, like gravity still has to exist even in a world of heavy CGI. And he forgot that, and like the Hobbit movies were terrible, and like that's some of the worst, like most ridiculous CGI I've ever seen. But like. To bring it back to this, with the 2D animation, you take away the easiness of it. You take away like the sparkle and the luster of 3D animation, and when you do that, you just kind of basically said, your heart, the creator's heart, goes back into it.
Exactly.
It's less heartless. It's more heartful, and I think that's why these movies are better. Like, that's 100%. Why I love the 2D animation, like Your Name and this and any other 2D animation film we get in the coming years, which I don't even know. I doubt we'll get many.
Me too.
Like even Spider-Verse had several scenes that were 2D animated and then 3D layered on top.
Absolutely.
So like I think that's why it worked so well. Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful blend for sure. Yeah. See, the Spider-Verse is a great example. Like they did not exploit 3D animation as far as these other movies do. They used it to they used 2D and 3D to fill in the gaps of where they feel like they had their shortcomings and their high comings. I totally agree. I also think it's a parallel to CGI and practical effects. Again, when you watch The Thing, right, and you see those fucking just the work that was put into like making that practical effect, your mind has to go, how the fuck?
Yeah,
because now people know it's CGI. It's such an easy answer now. It's just well, that's CGI.
It may not age very well. Like it looks like it was made during that time, but you're still like, damn, that still is insanely impressive.
I would argue, I think it ages, but sometimes it ages better. 100% ages better. Sometimes it doesn't. If it's done well, if it's done to the artist's complete standard, like high standard, I think it does age pretty fucking well.
Yeah,
I do. But again, it is a testament again to just like, I think 2D animation is being lost, and I think we should go back to it a little bit.
Back to it, yeah.
Yeah, I am getting a little tired of these like full on 3D. It's just something's lost for sure. Your brain, I think your brain does turn off. You just because you just don't wonder about it anymore. You don't really wonder about the art as much.
Yeah,
part of that is part of Hollywood, like the early Hollywood is missing in that sense. Where all that magic is a little lost when computers can do everything now. It's let's talk about, we can go into like this another time, but like AI, that's further fucking stripping that away, where like, why do people just don't want to work anymore? Or maybe that's not people's fault. Maybe culture has pushed us to just work too hard, and turnaround times are just inhumane, and it's just not possible. And it's like, I think it's all both. Yeah, I'm sure it's both for sure, but it sucks. It sucks. Anyways, what else is there too? What is there? Anything else you hated?
Things
about
I didn't like.
Okay, yeah. Is there other things? Oh, there's other things you didn't like. Oh, I like it. What?
Well, maybe somebody in the comments can tell me what was the point of the baby? I don't get it.
Why? You really don't like this baby,
I
bro?
really don't like the baby. I was just I don't understand. And then the baby can talk, and I was like, wait, the baby can fucking talk? Why can the baby talk? Also, why is this baby so fucking big?
Still mad.
I just did not like the baby. I was just kind of like, I thought Uzuba was a great villain. Ubaba.
Yubaba. Zeniba.
Everybody was great,
But that baby just threw you off.
The baby took me out of the film. The baby was like,
the baby took you out of the film.
Get it? I don't get it. Can somebody please tell me? I was able to, like, there's moments where I'm just like, oh, okay, this is fucking weird. But like the baby took me out of the film. I don't
think you're meant to.
Another sequence that took me a little bit out of film, but it was saved, was when No Name, No Face, remember the name, goes crazy and starts eating people. I was a little bit taken away, and then they brought it back. They were able to, it's just looking for purpose, and the girl has a very sweet thing. She's coming with us. That worked out. But when that was happening, I was like, what the fuck is going on in this movie?
She's eating people now? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, there's a certain chunk of the movie about, like, I don't know, before the last 30 minutes of the movie where I'm just like, this is off the fucking rails. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, one of my, it's writing its rules along the way, and when you don't sort of pay that off, it can start to seem very ridiculous.
Very interesting. Like, there's...
For sure. But
I
have problems with that too. Like, come on, you like write your own rules, but like kind of, but play the game too.
Yeah, like there is like some really great and really fun and nice fundamental messages. Like, don't forget who you are and all that stuff.
Yeah.
From the film, and learning to kind of grow up a little bit and things like that. But again, like the middle of the movie, man, it went so far off the rails. I was like, we got to get back on track.
Yeah, we need to reel this back.
Because I don't. This is maybe we should have saved this for 3 or 4 or 5 animated or anime films down the road.
Right.
Maybe when I'm more immersed in the world, I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, you know what? This was okay. This was better than I changed my opinion. But right now, I was just like, hey, what the fuck is going on? I don't get it.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that for sure. I'm with you on that. And I think part of that is the fact that we have seen so many movies already. You know, we do look for story. We think that that's important, and it should kind of line up.
I will say something that's really nice about these foreign films is that we're not getting these over-the-top characters. You know, obviously the YRF universe is separate, right? But like most of these characters are just normal human beings, and it's nice and refreshing to have a story behind them that you can relate to. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I'm glad you brought that up because, as I said earlier, a lot of the Ghibli films, or I didn't bring that up earlier. What I brought up earlier was that they were mostly women, centered around women. But other than that, they're also, most of them are actually just normal people for the most part. Or like they definitely don't go too far with making them feel like someone you can't relate to.
Right.
I wanted to, I don't know if we'll do another Ghibli movie next, unless you want to. I think we should kind of stray further into, I think we should do a live action one next. But once we get further into Ghibli, my personal favorite is Kiki's Delivery Service.
He's same director.
Same director. It's a Ghibli movie. But Kiki's Delivery Service, I think, is my favorite out of all the Ghibli movies. It's a fantastic tale, and it deals with a witch. But again, I think it never strays too far from the humanity of the characters, and I think we'll enjoy that. But speak to moving forward. What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do next? This is for the audience too, I guess, obviously.
Yeah.
So
what would be the next good step? Another anime film or a live action film?
Let's start some polls for suggestions, guys. Let's do it. Let's drop
the comments below. But I mean, I think to sum up this movie, I think there are a lot of nice, lessons. This movie feel like is like one big life lesson after another.
Sure. Right.
Sometimes life isn't fair. Hard work is important. Like the scene where she's, struggling to wash the stink spirit. She doesn't give up. She does it, The only way you get through life somewhere is hard work, which, is not something we talk about in our movies anymore.
No, especially
growing up, which is important. Things, being kind to everyone. She's kind to everyone in this movie. She's not rude or mean to anyone. It's a nice message. So I'm growing on the movie even as we talk about it. Maybe I just need to talk
have to revisit. Yeah, maybe I have to revisit.
But not the greatest of all time.
Not the greatest of all time. I would agree with you. It's not the greatest of all time, but it's a damn good movie.
It's good.
And it's definitely is up there.
You have to applaud single-handedly the imagination it took to build this world.
Right.
100%. That's insane.
It's insane. It's wonderful.
Absolute bonkers.
So that's our first step into Hayao Miyazaki, and we'll take more. Other than that, guys, keep watching. Hopefully you can get, maybe y'all have some Japanese friends. We have some too. We'll try to get those guys over and watching, but we're trying to expand our universe of
my universe. You've actually seen a lot of anime films.
I have seen a good amount.
I'm 2 down here.
True. But I still have yet to watch a lot more.
Should we ask the audience? Should we start the longest running anime of all time?
Oh my god!
Should we start?
We're asking them now.
Should we do it? Apparently, we should.
Who's watched One Piece in India? Let us know. And
in India, good question.
We had a discussion about this. One Piece is
it's like 600 episodes.
No, it's wasn't it like 1,000 or something? It's insane. It's the biggest beast of all time.
It's over 1,000.
It's too long, but I've heard it's like the best thing best anime ever made. So I'm down, but also,
can we just wait for the live action Netflix version? Sorry, should I say that?
Is there a live action version coming out? They might have made one by now in Japan.
No, there's a live action Netflix version coming by the same creator.
There you go, the Netflix. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
So maybe he might be in the right time.
He just said, in an interview, last week, he's like, I'm not releasing it until it's absolutely ready. So
holy night, awesome! Oh, you can't fuck this up. This is the greatest anime of all time, apparently. But anyways, should we start an anime? We'd like to hope that y'all have also followed it. Otherwise, I think we're gonna fall off that train really quickly. But anyway, there's plenty of other ones. Let us know. But we are in it. It's just to let you know we are in it. So let's do it. Continue to like and subscribe and hit that bell for more of Pizza Time. And let's end it here, Alex. Bye, guys.